Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I thought I'd rate the LRs. I've not rated the LRs in a while. I thought I'd do it in a little bit of a different way. So, once again, I am going to split it up between PvE and PvP just to sort of make it a little bit more fair. So characters like LRS, they get a fair rating in PvE and in PvP, because Liz in PvE is completely broken, Liz in PvP is completely useless. She's a decent backline character, but that's all she's getting. So I made a list. If a character is the best in the category, they get 14 points. If they're the worst, they get 1 point. Of course, points in between. There is 14 LRs in the game. At the end, we'll add up the points, and we'll see basically where they end up being. Okay, so I've already done it all, so I already know who's first and who's last. So first, I put for PvE, so we'll do PvE first. For the first in PvE, I put LR Liz. Once again, it doesn't really need much explaining why I put Liz first. She's got insane Demonic Beast coverage, final boss points, insane survivability. She basically works everywhere in PvE. She's not restricted in PvE, which is nice. And also she has a bit that works in all game modes. And her relic is also pretty broken. And she increases allies' HP related stats by 15%. That works everywhere, PvE, PvP. That's also the reason why you sometimes see people using her as a backline unit in PvP. Number 2, I give in to Miller. She's just broke. She's just so good everywhere. Her damage is out of this world. That Kira Arena, Demonic Beast, farming like gold or anything. You've got insane damage, insane death damage, insanely powerful single target, and insanely broken ultimate. Always hits type advantage. It's 50% attack related stat boost, defense related stat boost for you, for your allies when she hasn't got the actual attack related stat buff, and she also can increase her all stats by 7% up to 28% every time she gets a Dragon Rampage stack. So for game modes like Demonic Beast, where you may be going on for a few extra turns, she can definitely stack up a passive and become even more powerful. Yeah, she gets a 40% attack related stat boost, plus ignores 100% enemies crit defense, and inflicts equal damage equal to 40% of final damage when using an AoE skill. So basically she gets a damage boost. And that's it. But yeah, she's broken, and plus if you have her high duped, you then got the increased damage based on the enemy's max HP. Additional HP, once again at 6/6, additional damage equal to 100% of the target's increased HP, which is absurd. Bear in mind, characters like Gelda, who all of her health is basically additional HP, you can just one-tap immediately, because Milim is that powerful. For number 2, this is a new one. I put Merlin, only because I've been using her in like all the Demonic Beasts. She's decent basically all the Demonic Beasts. I haven't tried her on Nidhogg, but I probably won't. But yeah, she's decent in all the Demonic Beasts. She can be used in Hero Arena. She's really good for Hero Arena. She does insane damage with gold. I reckon some bosses she's actually going to be pretty good. The bosses that can be debuffed, because she has a relic which increases damage dealt. Increases your attack by 20% when attacking a debuffed enemy. She's got a debuff skill. Her passive, not only does it support unknowns, but it supports herself quite a bit with this insane crit damage boost, the insane attack related stat boost, the crit chance boost if her HP gets lower. So yes, it's not only if she's like full health she gets a boost. When her HP starts to get low, she starts to get a crit chance boost, which can be pretty handy, especially if you're in PvP and you lose a lot of health and you're versing like a Lance team or a Goddess team with a Red Star Island back, which is kind of irritating to deal with because they're quite tanky. The next one is Diane. Only because it's Diane. She is so good for so much content. She's an insane tank. She's now got a damage cap. Her ultimate does so much damage. She now provides a lot with her relic. You get a attack related stat boost as well as a damage increase dealt. Her taunt lasts for 2 turns at level 1, increased HP related stats, which means if you give her red Tarmiel, she's going to heal even more. She's got HP low, which is decent in PvP as well, but it does really good damage in PvE, which is what we're on. And once again, she does also have the minimum damage threshold as well, which is pretty broken. And I kind of like it. She's just a character I've always liked since her release. Next is Margaret, only because she's just good for points in all point-based game modes. She's got a decent cleanse. I don't know, final bosses or event bosses, like just debuff spam you. Margaret's good. She provides buffs. You got the damage increase once again from her buff, but then you also got the basic stat boost, the crit chance and crit damage boost as well, which is pretty handy. And her relic gives, I think, damage reduction and increased damage dealt to the Archangels. Unfortunately, there aren't many good archangels. There's a lot of good goddesses. So once again, you got Melee Liz, you got Queen Liz, you got the new Mael. But the thing is, none of them count as archangels, even though you would think Mael would. Doesn't count because he's still in commandment form, so it's a commandment instant. Next is Barn. I only put Barn on here because he recently just decimated Hero Arena, insanely broken for Hero Arena. Good for farming. Event bosses he's okay on. Demonic Beasts he can be used on. Would I recommend it for Demonic Beasts? Probably not, but if you need a good human support and you don't really want to use Arthur, or you don't have UR-based Arthur, Chaos Arthur, this Barn will definitely fill his place in, and definitely, you won't regret it. His damage is really good, he increases basic stats. He is unfortunately quite heavily reliant on the fact that you're going to have an X-Store up, so in most PvE places you can't use X-Store because they can't be stat lowered. But his damage is still pretty good otherwise. He can increase his own attack by 50% as well, which is good. Escanor, he's okay. He can be used. I use him for Demon King. That's it. As a support character for Mazano. That's all I really use him for. He's okay. Ella Lilia, she's got really good heal. Chaos mode, but that's really it. Zell, he's good for point-based game modes because once again his old gauge depletion and his relic increases basic stats by 6% up to 30%, which is kind of decent, and you can use him for Rat, which is the reason why he's this high. After that, then we have Glocks, solely for the fact that he can be used on Rat. That is it. Then Gallant, solely because he can be used on Rat. Then we've got Elor Melee, because Elor Melee fell off hard. He was really good, and he fell off so hard, only because now there are so many better DPSs. Melee is only really used in what do you call it? In OG Demon. That's it. The only time I use him. And then I put King at the second last spot, only because I don't feel like King doesn't perform too well in PvE. Only because the fact he is like full debuffed, and the races he only works with are fairies and giants, which don't really have too much synergy together apart from this King. Once again, we're going to have to wait till we get more of King and Diane's kids before we can really start to see this King really pop off. Once again, this is also PvE. And then final, the last but not least, Rimmer. He's just horrendous. You see him on Hero Arena teams, he's got like mediocre CC. His LR didn't really add much. It gave him like a 10% pierce rate boost. I feel like that, and he got Flood on his Infect skill. That's all he got. It wasn't really much. His substats did not get boosted much, if not at all, which is sort of a pain. But it's just unfortunately how it's gonna be. And now on to PvP. So we'll go to PvP next. Once again, speed round. I'm just going to speed round through these because it's pretty obvious why some characters are here. I put Millam at number 1, Melon at 2, Margaret at 3. Diane at 4, Barn at 5, Lilia at 6, King at 7, Glocks at 8, because these two are quite well synergized with each other. Escanor is the one after that. I forgot what number I was on. I think 9. So Escanor's 9. Then we have Zell 10. We have Galland 11. We've got Melee being 12. 13 is Rimuru, and of course, unfortunately, Ella Liz had to take the L in PvP because she's basically PvE only. And the people used to see her run in the back was basically solely for CC, and the fact that her relic does give you a little bit extra HP related stats, which means more lifesteal, more healing from Red Tarmiel. That is the reason why you're going to see those characters in the back. Now on to the final points, which is basically just where everyone placed. So, Millam getting 27, so first place. Millam getting 27 out of 28 points because she was number 1 in PvP and number 2 in PvE. So she ended up getting 27 out of 28. Number 2 was Merlin getting 25 out of 28, getting 13 in PvP and 13 in... No, she got 25. My maths is wrong here. She got 20. Oh no, I'm looking at the same one. Okay, she got 25. She got 13 in PvP, 12 in PvE. Joint third, we have Deanne and Margaret. So Deanne got 11 in PvE and 11 in PvP, giving her 22. Margaret got 10 in PvE and 12 in PvP, so she got 22 as well. Fifth is Barn. who scored 10 in PvP and 9 in PvE. So then it was Lilia, who scored 9 in PvP and 7 in PvE. Then it is Liz, who scored 14 on PvE and 1 in PvP, unfortunately. 8 is Escanor, who scored 6 in PvP and 8 in PvE. Then it is Glocks, who scored 7 in PvP and 5 in PvE. Then number 10, who I just can't see. Number 10 is Zell, who got 5 in PvP and 6 in PvE. 11 was King, who scored 2 in PvE and 8 in PvP, so it's okay. 12 is Galland, who scored 4 in PvE and 4 in PvP. 13 is Melly, who scored 3 in PvE and 3 in PvP. And the final, the worst LR in the entire game, in my opinion, is Rimuru, scoring 2 in both PvE and PvP. Not being the worst, sorry, 1 in PvE and 2 in PvP. Being the worst character to use in PvE, because it's okay, but he just doesn't have a use. He just doesn't really have a use that you would use him in. You know, if you're low box CC and you've got him, you're not really going to be using him for much content. If you don't have his outfits, he's not really going to be that good for CC wise. He's an LR that doesn't deserve an LR. When I heard that LR Rimuru was going to come to the game, I assumed it was going to be a proper LR rework that every character gets. Not a very budget upgrade that didn't even boost its substats. Characters from the collaboration, the rerun he was in, got a better stat boost and a better just general passive boost than what he got in his LR, which is it's insane. But yeah, so final standings is Millum, Merlin, Deanne, Margaret, then it goes Barn, then Lilia, then Liz, then Escanor, then Glocks, Zell, King, Galland, Melly, and then Rimuru. Once again, this is all my opinion based from me using them and me seeing them and like generally interacting with them in the game. Some of them are much better than others, and I feel like characters like Millum, who excel everywhere, and Merlin, and Margaret, Deanne, all these characters that have a very strong purpose on their team and can sort of be used outside of just the general usage. For example, Deanne, you don't only just see her on Sin's teams, you don't only see her on Giants teams, but you see her with Millum, with Merlin, with like these characters that are very gimmicky, and you sort of want to taunt them up and keep them safe, because that's what Deanne can do. She's got a good damage count. I do feel like characters or LRs like Rimuru need a full rework. His LR was not needed. Well, sorry, he needed the LR, but the LR he got was not the LR he needed. He needed a full kit rework to make it so he was maybe not meta breaking, but usable in anything. Because the only times you see him is in Hero Arena, in like I do Challenger, right? So I do 340k. I see Rimuru once, and he gets immediately nuked by Millum. So he's on the field for 10 seconds max before he's dead again. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these LRs. Where do you think they stand? If you think you had any differing opinions to me, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.